let's talk about something that trips up even the smartest leaders out there, the real and, frankly, often shocking cost of new software. Okay, let's just get right into it, because what you think you're paying, well, it's almost never the whole story. So imagine this. You've just given the green light to a new enterprise software project. The budget looks solid, the proposal is signed, everybody's high-fiving, and the number right there on the contract, a nice, clean $500,000. It feels under control, predictable, like a really smart move. But then, you fast forward about 18 months. The project is dragging on, your team is completely fried, and when you look at the invoices, they now add up to over $1.2 million. Yeah, more than double what you planned for. That predictable project has turned into a total financial black hole. So what on earth went wrong? I mean, this wasn't just a simple mistake in the budget. The real problem was a huge, flawed assumption that was made right at the very beginning. And in this explainer, we're going to tear down exactly what that assumption is, and more importantly, how you can avoid it. It all kicks off with something I like to call the sticker price myth. This is the belief that the price you see on the proposal, the sticker price, is the main cost you've got to worry about. It's an incredibly common mistake, and boy, is it an expensive one. Most folks think they're calculating the total cost of ownership, or TCO, just by adding up the software license fees and whatever the annual support contract costs. I mean, it seems logical, doesn't it? But this super narrow view is exactly why so many projects just spiral completely out of control. So, to get our heads straight, let's look at the real industry standard definition from Gartner. True TCO is a comprehensive assessment. It's not just buying the thing and paying for support. It's about management, communication, what it costs your end users in time and effort, and even the cost of downtime. It's the whole shebang. And this visual just says it all, doesn't it? That sticker price, the licenses and support, it's just the tip of the iceberg. We're talking maybe 20% of the actual cost. A mind-blowing 80% of the total cost of any piece of software happens after you buy it. These are all the hidden costs, lurking right below the surface. All right, so let's dive in and explore that massive, dangerous 80% of the iceberg that's hiding underwater. We're going to break down the 4 main layers of hidden costs that cause those budgets to completely blow up. We're going to look at this in 4 key areas. First up, the huge effort of implementation and integration. Second, we'll talk about the dangerous trap of customization. Third is the human cost, which we almost always ignore, personnel and productivity. And finally, we'll cover the long-tail, ongoing, and strategic costs. Okay, first, implementation. And listen, this is not just clicking install. It's a whole massive project in itself. You've got to move all your data from the old systems, which means cleaning it and making sure it's right. You have to build custom APIs so this new software can actually talk to all your other tools. You might even have to upgrade your servers just to handle the thing. Next up is what I call the customization trap. Look, off-the-shelf software is, by design, generic, so it almost never fits your specific business processes perfectly. And the temptation is to start tweaking the code to make it fit. But oh man, this is such a slippery slope. It can void your warranty, and it creates this monster of technical debt that you'll be paying off for years. In fact, this is so common that there's an industry rule of thumb for it. It's called the 20% rule. And it basically says that if you find yourselves needing to customize more than 20% of an off-the-shelf system, that is a major, major red flag. At that point, it's honestly often cheaper to just build what you need from scratch. And the financial risk here is it's huge. I mean, check out this quote. Heavy customization doesn't just add a little bit to the cost, it can add anywhere from 50% to an absolutely staggering 200% of the original license fee to your total. That's exactly how a $500,000 project suddenly becomes a $1 million plus disaster. So the third layer is all about your people. You have to budget for training everyone, right? Which also means you're paying for all the work they're not doing while they're in training. Then you have to factor in that inevitable dip in productivity right after you go live, as everyone fumbles around trying to learn the new system. This isn't some fuzzy concept, it's a real measurable cost to your business. And finally, you've got the costs that never go away. You're going to be paying those annual maintenance fees, usually around 15 to 22% of the initial price, every single year. You also get hit with vendor lock-in, which just means it becomes painfully expensive to ever switch to something else. Your entire company's strategy is now basically a hostage to some other company's product plans. Now, I know what you might be thinking. The whole argument for buying software off the shelf is that it's supposed to be faster and less risky than building your own, right? Well, let's see what the actual data has to say about that little theory. Yeah, the promise is really tempting. A quick, safe, predictable project. That's the whole sales pitch. But a huge landmark study by McKinsey and Company that looked at over 5,000 IT projects, well, it tells a very, very different story. Let's start with this number, 66%. According to that McKinsey study, the average cost overrun for software projects is a staggering 66%. That's not a tiny miscalculation. That means the average project is 2/3 more expensive than anybody planned for. So much for safety, huh? But this is the number that should really keep you up at night. The study found that roughly 1 out of every 6 large IT projects becomes what they call a black swan. This is an event so catastrophic it can literally threaten the existence of the company. So, we're not just talking about being late or over budget anymore, we're talking about existential risk. Okay, so given these insane hidden costs and these very real risks, how can you possibly make a smarter decision? Look, it's not about never buying software. It's about having a much better framework to evaluate it. So let's talk about how to build that process right now. The key is to run what's called a pre-mortem. Before you sign anything, assume the project has already failed 18 months from now and then work backwards to figure out why. This checklist forces you to ask the hard questions up front. Have you literally mapped out every single system this new software needs to connect with? Who is on the hook for data quality? What is the real budget for training and that productivity dip? And hey, does the vendor's long-term plan even line up with yours? You see, when you start answering those questions, the whole conversation shifts. It stops being a simple purchasing decision and becomes what it always should have been, a high-level strategic choice. It really comes down to the difference between renting a tool and owning an asset. Just think of it like this. Commercial off-the-shelf software, that's basically renting. You get a generic tool and you have to force your unique way of doing business to fit inside its box. Strategic software, which is often custom-built, is like owning. It's a true asset that is built around your unique processes, the very things that actually give you an edge over your competition. So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with one final question to ask yourself before you sign that next contract. Are you just renting a generic solution that's going to dictate how you work? Or are you actually investing in a strategic asset that's going to amplify what makes your business special and successful? Because that difference, well, it could literally be worth millions of dollars.